Now, I'm about to make an extremely bold statement here, and just like you, I was shocked to learn this. But the best Chinese food isn't actually from China, it's from Korea, respectfully. Before you come for me in the comments, hear me out. My feelings and opinions aside, the amount of love in Korea for the two dishes we're gonna be talking about today eclipses that of America's love for orange chicken, which I know is probably kind of hard to grasp. And personally, having grown up with a lot of Korean food in the house, I can definitively say I looked forward to these dishes most of all. You already know the story, you just don't know it yet. Chinese immigrants show up in a new country. Of course, they bring with them their food. You know that story because it happened here in America. Chinese railroad workers and immigrants hit the West Coast sometime in the mid-1800s, opened restaurants, and gave us General Tso's chicken, chop suey, crab rangoon fortune cookies, dishes that don't really exist in China, but are deeply and truly American at this point, right? American Chinese food is beloved. There's a reason. I mean, come on, tell me you don't love a goon. Who doesn't like a crab rangoon? A goon for the goon. But you really only think this can happen in America? No, it totally happened in Korea too, just with different immigrants, different cuisine, and a completely different end result. It's pretty fascinating, actually. In the late 1800s, a small group of immigrants from China's Shandong province landed in the port city of Incheon. They opened restaurants, they cooked the food from their home, and slowly over the course of the next 100 or so years, the dishes they made got absorbed, adapted, and transformed into something that Korea now considers entirely its own. Now, Koreans call their version of Chinese food, and I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, so bear with me, Junghwa Yore. Junghwa Yori. And just like Americans, Koreans think of this style of food as foreign, even though it's largely their own version of a foreign food. It's comfort food. It's delivery food. It's the thing you eat when you move into a new apartment. It's the thing you eat when you graduate, according to my grandma.
Jjajangmyeon is the very best when you graduate. Then they buy you jjajangmyeon.
But the two that stand out to me, the ones that I love the most, are jjajangmyeon and Tangsuyuk. The first being a glossy bowl of jet black noodles, and the second, the crispiest pork money can buy, with a sweet and sour sauce. But it's like really sour and really sweet. I don't know, it's good, you'll see. Both of these, of course, are inspired by Chinese originals, which we'll talk all about. Let's start with the noodles. Black, glossy, unapologetically bold and savory, jjajangmyeon might be the most comforting bowl of noodles you've never heard of. This came over from Chinese immigrants called Chosunjuk, Koreans living in China who brought their food culture with them when they settled in port cities like Incheon in the 1800s. Its distinctive ingredient is called chunjang, which is kind of like a Chinese ingredient that has been kind of Koreanified, but is still Chinese, yet it's also Korean. I don't know, man. This is confusing. And just like all great food, jjajangmyeon changes depending on where it's made and who makes it. The vegetables change, the cuts on the vegetables change, different ingredients get added. For example, my grandma throws a little bit of shrimp in her jjajangmyeon, right? Because she's from Busan. A port city might do that to a recipe, make it seafoody. The one we're gonna make today is traditional. It's sort of like the blueprint, if you will. This one's inspired by two things. One, an awesome meal that I had at this epic Chinese restaurant in Seoul called Gadam. God damn, it was good though. We basically got taken there by a well-known restaurateur and sommelier named Summer Lee. Shout out Summer Lee. If you're ever in Seoul, you gotta go check out her kimbap restaurant, Narang. It's amazing, but I digress. That bowl from Gadam was exactly what I'm looking for in jjajangmyeon. The second influence is, of course, my grandma. A couple years ago, I had her here in my kitchen to show me how to make her version of jjajangmyeon. I like a lot of what she did, so we're gonna kind of borrow and take from both of these different influences today to make our own version. There's a reason why there's over 45,000 Chinese restaurants in Korea. There's a reason why over 5 million bowls of this stuff are ordered daily. And that's in a country of just under 52 million people. So, you know, you do the math there. Pretty crazy ratio for eating a bowl of noodles every day, this specific one. Okay, let's cook. Jjajangmyeon is very straightforward, but there are a couple ingredients that you might not be familiar with. I think it's worth talking about it. From left to right, we have our pork belly here that's cut into a large dice, just like this here green cabbage, onion, and zucchini. This is yuksu, or Korean anchovy stock, right? We made that in a previous video. I have a recipe for you. I'll leave it in the description if you want to make it, but this can totally just be water too, and it's gonna be fine. Oyster sauce, sugar, soy sauce, ginger, garlic, you know those. Then we have to talk noodles here, right? Very important in a noodle dish. These are just Chinese style noodles that I picked up from my Korean market. These are the style noodles that you're gonna find if you order jjajangmyeon from a restaurant. But I understand it might be kind of a pain in the booty if you don't live near a Korean market or a well-stocked Asian grocery to find noodles like this, in which case you can totally use a dried version, right? I'll be sure to leave the products that I think will work great in the description below. Then of course we have the God Particle, AKA MSG. You know it, you love it. And this stuff here. This is arguably the most important thing on the board. This is what makes jjajangmyeon. Jjajangmyeon gives it its jet black color. Chunjang. We talked about it last time, but jang, paste in Korean cuisine. Very important, right? This is another jang, chunjang. It's made with caramel usually added to it, coloring usually added to it. It's kind of got its own thing going on here, and it's exactly what you need to make this dish. Then we got potato starch here. Don't skip this. Most Chinese restaurants will use potato starch. This is what's gonna give our noodles that glossy look, and it's gonna thicken our sauce, make it nice and viscous and addicting. Without this, you don't have jjajangmyeon. You could use cornstarch in a pinch or other starches, but I've really only ever used potato starch here, so cool. Without further ado, let us cook. All right, we are gonna go high heat. Nifty little thing I picked up. Makes your wok sit nice and tight, even though it's circular. Should have got that a long time ago. All right, we're gonna go with a little bit of neutral oil, and just like with all wok cookery, just gonna wipe that all over the side of the bowl here. We're gonna go with some of our pork belly here. Just gonna render that out a bit, let the fat kind of start to leach out of the pork, start pre-cooking the pork. Now we're gonna knock in our garlic chopped up and our gingy. Yeah, and we're just gonna kind of stir that around, cook that with the pork. We can add in our chunjang. Start there, we can always add a little more if we need to. We're just gonna cook this off a little bit, cook off some of its moisture, and just like cooking sort of any like paste or chili paste or anything like that, you know, adding it with the oil and the aromatics and this meat here is just gonna help kind of toast it and bring out more of its flavor. Look how black that goes, man. Looks wild. Now we're gonna hit in the soy sauce, onion, cabbage, grandma's touch, zucchini, looks good, and just a little bit of Korean scallion, daepa. And remember, there's a lot of salt in the chunjang. There's a lot of salt in the soy sauce. So I did not add any salt to this yet. We can taste it at the end and kind of see where we're at. But wise not to do that just yet. I'm just stirring this around until these vegetables soften a bit. Just a couple of minutes here. Things happen quick. Now we can go with the yuksu. A little bit of oyster sauce. The oyster sauce. Remember, shellfish plays well with pork. Sugar. Wouldn't be Korean food without that. And I think it goes without saying, a wee pinch of the GP, the God Particle, AKA MSG. I think we're gonna need just a little more of that. So you can see here we're at like a soup consistency, right? That's fine, that's where we wanna be for now, but we're not quite at the sauce level we need. So to do that, we gotta do something special. We're just gonna throw together a quick starch slurry with some of that potato starch here and a little bit of H2O, just enough to kind of mix everything together to form a paste. The more water you add to this, the more forgiving your slurry will be. If you add less water, it's gonna thicken fast, and this happens on contact with hot liquid. So you'll see kind of almost in real time immediately how thick your sauce is gonna be when the slurry is added. Check this out. I'm gonna go right in the center here. I'm gonna add some of our slurry. I'm gonna stir. I'm gonna see where we're at. This really is a feel thing. Look at how viscous that just got. It's literally been, what, not even 20 seconds? You could see it, you could hear it. I want it just a nice little snail trail. No, that's a great metaphor to use right now with food, snail trail. All right. Wow, I think we got it the first go around here, guys. We're gonna cut the heat. It's cool because these come kind of pre-portioned out, you know? Woo! I just like to take a touch of oil, plop them on there, and kind of just, you know, weave the noodles around. Beautiful. You might be wondering, Adam, why'd you cool the noodles down? They're cold now. I actually grew up eating my jjajangmyeon with cold noodles and warm sauce, or hot sauce. Right, the black stuff hot, the noodles cold. These are also served with hot noodles and hot sauce. I've even seen people eat it with cold sauce and cold noodles, and I've done that myself, straight out the fridge. Don't judge me, all right? But before we even talk about how to serve or eat it, let's move on to our Tangsuyuk, because I like to eat both at the same time. Quick sidebar, the jjajangmyeon we made today is actually just kind of more standard jjajangmyeon. Gang jjajangmyeon, or dry jjajangmyeon, is a different variety that is less saucy and more stir-fry-y. Just wanted to put that out there. It looks like this. That's what it looks like. See that? Got it? Cool. Okay, moving on. Great. This next one is essentially crispy pork in sweet and sour sauce, and there's 3 ways to eat it: dipped, tossed, or stir-fried. And Koreans will genuinely argue about which one is best here, which kind of tells you already how much this dish really means to people. Tangsuyuk breaks down simply: tang, sugar, su, vinegar, yuk, pork. Tangsuyuk. It traces back to a northeastern dish called dongbae gwaobao-ru. Again, mispronouncing that, but yeah, you get it. This is crispy, sweet and sour pork from the Dongbei region in China that made its way into Korea through the same wave of immigration that brought jjajangmyeon. Korea took that foundation and built on top of it, right? A bit of a lighter batter, a more sour and sweet sauce, right? More punchy all around. Something that's unmistakably its own thing. Now, I've eaten tangsuyuk more times than I could count, but I've never actually made it myself until recently. So naturally, I went down that recipe rabbit hole and actually stumbled across my boy Chef Chris Cho's video.
Yo, this is how you make tangsuyuk.
Whoa! There he cooked alongside a famous Korean chef named Chef Yo, and his technique immediately grabbed my attention. Shout out Chris Cho, the kid from Philly, man. I hope you're doing well. It's been too long.
Where are you?
The second influence is from one of the best bites that I had in Seoul. Again, from that famous Chinese Korean restaurant Garam in Gangnam, which is totally a tongue twister. Say it with me now, Garam, Gangnam, Garam, Gangnam. At Garam, the tangsuyuk came out on this incredible dish here with this like light, beautiful sauce. It looked like it was stir-fried or tossed in the sauce. It was a spicy version. It had Korean green chilies on it. It had these like dry red chilies, which you'll often see in a lot of like Chinese cooking as well. It was glossy, punchy, and perfect, and most notably, it was garnished with these awesome little rice crackers, which we'll talk all about. I think they're a huge game changer. So the version we're about to make today lives between Chef Chris and Yo's and the meal that I had at Garam, because the best recipes usually come when you borrow from the right people. Let's cook. Tangsuyuk is basically just crispy pork in a sauce. For the crispy pork, all we really need here is a little bit of this here potato starch, right? There's a through line here. Tater starch is a must. For this pork here, it's really important to use a lean pork, right? I'm using a pork loin that I picked up from my Korean market. Essentially what I did was I laid that loin down, I sliced it as thin as, you know, what kind of looked like my meal at Garam, right? Then I went ahead and just ran a fork through them all. Just gonna help tenderize an already tender piece of meat. Then you can kind of cut them into sizes you want. I went for something kind of like this, you know? I just think it's gonna look nice, it's gonna taste nice. It kind of reminds me of my meal in Seoul. For the sauce, pretty straightforward. We got the water, the soy, sugar, rice wine vinegar is gonna give us that punch, that tang that we need, that we yearn for. Some nice thinly sliced ginger. That's a la Chris Cho in his recipe. I thought it looked nice. Nice little touch there. And then these are some of my favorite peppers in the world. You dip these in samjang and eat them as a crunchy, nice little vegetal snack. Fantastic. A pretty light, medium heat, if any, off of these. They're just gonna look nice in the stir fry. Again, inspired by that meal in Seoul. Then we have these red chilies here. Because remember, we're doing a spicy version, right? Ish. These are kind of almost like chili arbol, but a little less fiery, I would say, and a little larger in size. And of course, the rice crispy chips. Put a little bit of sugar on these. You eat those all day. So I did not know these existed until my trip to Korea, and honestly kind of forgot about them until recently. Then I found them at my Korean market, and man, am I stoked on that. I didn't know they sold these. I didn't know we had the technology.
It may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation ding alarm.
The one we're using today, I believe, is glutinous rice. There's a bunch of different kinds. I think people just make, you know, throw these in broth and make different soups with them and stuff too. If you know what these are or have experience with them, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to like hear more about it. Let's make some pork. All right, so into a mixing bowl, we're gonna add a healthy portion of potato starch. It's a lot of potato starch. Then we'll add in our pork slivers. Start with half first. And water. Not too much water. It's important that we make a sort of like cakey, textured starch mix with lumps of starch forming on the outside of our pork pieces. This is gonna be what gives us the craggle, that extra kind of restaurant crispiness that Chris and Chef Yo were talking about. I think this is a really smart technique. So we're looking for like a half wet, half dry mixture. where that starch cakes onto the surface of our pork piece and gives us that craggly little pocket that we know and love when it comes to tangsuyuk and other like crispy pork. It's the same idea with hydrating the flour when you make fried chicken, right? Just with potato starch. Kind of what we're looking for here. I'm gonna lower these pieces in one by one, and they will, most likely, stick together, which is fine. So this oil's at 350, and we're gonna fry these for about 6 minutes. This is a Chef Yo trick here. We have to give these a nice little slap. I guess it releases air, makes them pop and snap less for safer frying. It also breaks them apart if they stick together. The ideal specimen. Crunchy. Let's make the sauce. All right, for our sauce, we gotta add stuff to a bowl in the form of agua, mul, soy sauce, rice vinegar, very important, very important, sugar, yes, that much sugar, sweet and sour, a little bit of the GP, and then our little ginger ribbons. All we gonna do is kind of whisk that up here until that sugar dissolves, and then we can kind of thicken it up just like we did all of our other things. At this stage, it's super important that we taste for seasoning. We want this to be umami, seasoned with salt and sugar. Again, it should be punchy, it should kind of be nasally. We want this to be very seasoned because remember, we didn't season our pork. All we did was toss it in potato starch. So this sauce needs to be flavorful, like more flavorful than you think it should be. Yeah, something like that. One day we'll be able to taste through the screen. We're gonna go medium-high heat, saucier. We're gonna pour all of our sauce in said saucier. Up, no shugs left behind. Bring that up to a simmer, just really ensure that sugar's melted. All right, and just like our Jjajangmyeon sauce, we are going to thicken this up with a starch slurry, a potato starch slurry. And again, it will thicken on contact, so check this out. Because it's so clear, it'll be easier to see. Whisk that along, see where we're at. You can see it's just getting more and more viscous as time goes on. It's just cool to be able to see the thickening power in real time. Tiny, tiny bit more, that's it. Look at that. It's a nice glossy sauce, not too thick, not too runny. You can see a trail right behind it. Any more starch and this might go a little too gloopy, so I'm liking this right now the way it is. And as this cools, it will get a little thicker, so don't be alarmed if it's not like to the perfect viscosity right when you're done simmering it. We talked about this briefly already, but there are 3 ways you can serve this, and everybody has a strong opinion on this. Should you pour the sauce? Should you stir fry everything together? Or should you dip your little porky pieces in that sweet, sweet glossy sauce? If I have the access, I'm either getting the sauce poured on or stir fried. But when I'm taking it to go, we be dipping. And we already got the wok out, so we're gonna stir fry. All right, you know the vibe. High heat, wok rack, wok, waka flocka.
You listen to Waka Flocka at all?
Is that a band or a song?
That's a man.
Little neutral oil in the hot wok, smoking, smelling smoky. Wipe her out. We are prepared. Green chilies, red chilies. Just gonna kind of dry toast these, move them around a bit. Once you can smell the fragrance on them, we are good. Oh yeah, beautiful. Now we'll whack in our pork and a little bit of the sauce. Kind of toss it around, make sure those chilies are nice and coated. Good Lord, look at that sweet, sticky pork. And to dish up, nice big circular plate. I'm going to pour some sauce in the middle there, just like they did at Garam. Nice little landing zone. Everybody gets us some sauce. Nice. And you can't forget the Rice Krispies, man. Just kind of weave those in there. It's kind of cool because they kind of blend in with the pork, right? It's like, what am I eating here? Rice or pork? Ta-da! You know, I can't do many things right in this world, but I think I did these guys justice here. Well, you tell me. Oh, almost forgot. Can't forget the dippa. For the Jaja, we got a nice, cute little bowl with noodles in it. We're gonna hit that with some of our sauce on one side. Beautiful. And a very necessary garnish, some cucumber. Jjajangmyeon. Okay, all of our work is done. We got our Tangsuyuk and our Jjajangmyeon and all the accoutrement, which we'll talk about. But before we dig into this, I thought it would only be fitting if we invited a professional Jjajangmyeon and Tangsuyuk eater to join us today, in the form of my beautiful, lovely, charming waifu, Jarb. Welcome back, Jarb. Come on. Oh, sorry. So, something that's often served on the side of jjajangmyeon are this here Korean pickled yellow radish, more of that jang that we used earlier, that chunjang, and raw white onion that you usually just kind of dip in the chunjang and eat straight up. It's nice. Does this look familiar to you?
Yeah.
How so?
We had it in Korea.
But like the rice cakes and the chilies, like that's not like normal, right? That's the one that we had in Korea. All right, dig in.
It's the only one I've ever had.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, dang. All right. The Rice Krispies, dude. Why don't you give that a nice little dunkski?
What? A rice cream?
Anything, pork, rice. I'm into the pork. Look at this. Oop. Yeah.
It's like a booger.
We were all thinking it. That's a saturated boy.
Is this all you do is just like fucking shovel food in your mouth?
It's really my job. Thoughts, comments?
It's good.
You heard it here first. All right, I'm mixing this up. I'm doing it. You wanna help me? Get in here with me.
Well, how do
Let's
you
do it together. Let's do it
chopstick?
together. We can figure it out. This is the most fun part.
I'm doing nothing.
I love mixing. Why aren't you helping? Get in there.
You need to fold it.
Oh. Finish her off. Take us home. Take us home. Yep, that's great form. Excellent work. Dig in, my mom. Take a bite. Oh, this is gonna be. I'm gonna have to do this right here.
Yeah.
The splashback is real. And if you don't end up with black stuff all over your face and/or shirt, one of the reasons I wore a black shirt today, you ain't doing it right. But I mean, look at this. Those are just some picturesque, beautiful noodles. And you eat it with a little bit of the. I'm gonna try not to stain the other ones. Some of this radish too, and it's like a mouth cleaner. You know what I mean? Because this can be like really like one noted and savory. And you know, you kind of want to break it up with like the onion and the radish and stuff, but yeah, what do you think?
Delicious.
Think it tastes like the restaurants?
Yeah, I kind of like how yours is a little thicker.
Does this remind you of in South Korea, in Seoul, or what?
Yes.
It does. I think she's saying that because she loves me. All right, thanks, babe. Get out of here, babe. Go ahead. Come on. Shoot.
Did this die a long time ago?
Still on, babe.
Where?
Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know your favorite Korean Chinese food in the comments below. And if you have a favorite restaurant, also let me know in the comments below. Would love to spread the love and start the convo over there. I'm always looking for new places to try jjajangmyeon and Tangsuyuk. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Come say what's good in the Discord. We're chatting over there. Cop some merch. It directly helps the channel. We got some fun new designs coming your way as well. And if you're able, support the grocery fund, aka the Patreon. Anyways, until we meet next, annyeong.